Ready for this to be over? Okay. Well, first thing is introduce myself. I'm Chuck Conkle from Rock Valley College. I've been there about 20 years. Over CIS division, teach programming, mobile app development, and the last 4 or 5 years have been involved with training faculty on how to use iPad in the classroom. And so today we're going to be showing you some things that we use, and personally things I use in the classroom that might be practical to help you, whether or not you've used an iPad or not in your classroom. The handouts valuations that you were given need to be filled out and handed in to me upon exit, is what they tell me. And so then I will collect those and turn them in. And also I needed to tell you that if you're here that need a PDH label, I have the little labels up here on the table. You can grab one on the way out for that. And with no further ado, let's begin. So, first of all, iPads have only been around since 2010, believe it or not. Most people think about a decade or longer just because so many people are using them, but it's not been out. Steve Jobs walked out on the stage in January 2010 to present the iPad. Also, at Rock Valley College, we've used them since 2011, spring 2011. We began piloting iPads, and we used a Perkins grant to purchase iPads for administration and faculty. And IT officially began supporting iPads on campus spring 2014. We have 5 locations, and so it took a while to saturate all of the campuses with support. And a couple of reasons was they had to put some infrastructure in, one being for wireless infrastructure for Wi-Fi, and then also for, I'm gonna take my jacket off, for some software that needed to be installed on PCs within the classroom that we'll talk about today. Some of the softwares that need to be installed. And so IT is integral in whether you're in K through 12 or colleges today, integral in being a part of the plan. What I did was, when we did the grant, I gave all of the folks in IT an iPad to use for a year, however they wanted to use it. And an example was the video guy that's over video on campus began to use it for audio mixing and video mixing and found some really cool ways to do it. And they got excited about using the iPads. And so I recommend getting IT on board by giving them iPads, basically, is what I recommend, and telling them to use it however they want to use it. Because teachers generally will not get support from IT if they don't believe there's a reason to support whatever it is, the services that you have. And you might have heard possibly something like, it's your device, you brought it, you support it, right? And I was over IT for a year, and so I understand the complexities of support. But what really was a catalyst to bring IT on board was allowing them to use the iPad practically in their area. And there's tons of apps out there for IT. Glenn in audio video used one for soundboard and video, which he loves. He can be in a back of an auditorium now and control all the sound with an iPad app. So does that make sense? Getting IT on board is crucial. And it has a lot to do with what we're talking about today, because without IT support, you're pretty much shot in the foot when it comes to using an iPad in a classroom, right? And so I definitely recommend that. Well, so iPads in the classroom, let's see how they've been used so far. They're interactive, they're adaptive, they're emerging, okay? We're going to take a little poll here in a second to find out how you guys use it or how you use your iPad in your classroom. But the interactive part is such as like using a digital whiteboard. Might be an example. Anybody used a digital whiteboard before? We'll talk. I have a list of apps at the end of the presentation that's already on my website that you guys can get to. The digital whiteboard, faculty can walk around, interact with students in the classroom while they're take pictures of their labs, take pictures of their work, and shoot it up on the overhead. And they can do it all untethered like I am right here. They're not connected to a wire. And really, the benefit of the iPad is one of the benefits, main benefits for teachers, is the fact that you can move around with it and be mobile in the classroom. Photo, video, and audio. Well, it's Apple, and I was a graphic designer for 8 years, and Apple still is the #1 base computer for anything audio, video related, still today. And so that's just what they really do well with. And so taking video, audio, faculty can record videos. I have a faculty right now that's doing, teaches a religion course, and he's doing interviews with different leaders of different religions using an iPad and some software post-production, and working really well. How many here has used like FaceTime or Skype before in video? And so you can also integrate that in your classroom with an iPad where you might be a little bit more tied down with other types of use cases like a laptop or desktop. Animation, if you've not checked it out, we're not going to go over it today, but I would recommend going to the Apple Store and looking at all of the cool K through 12 and post-secondary textbooks that are out that are highly interactive and very reasonable for schools to purchase. In fact, Apple's put a cap on publishers, like say in a psychology book and post-secondary is around 125 bucks. Well, the same textbook on an iPad is 12 bucks through the iTunes store. And so it's going to be more efficient, more effective, more cost-effective for students. The publishers didn't like it at first. It took about 3 years to come around, but K through 12's actually been using, there's quite a few case studies on K through 12 using iPad one-to-one, but teacher and student using nothing but textbooks, interactive textbooks within the classroom. This is kind of a cool factor. You heard me playing music when you guys came in. I'm a musician as well, and one of the cool things I found at one of the conferences was a guy named Kevin Honeycutt came up, and he's a conference speaker, motivational speaker you might have heard of. Anyway, he brought this guitar to the stage and played Stairway to Heaven with it. And what it is an embedded iPad, or you can even use an iPhone. The device is only 40 bucks, and it's got full MIDI imports and exports, and it sounds just like the real thing. And you can also, what's cool about for music teachers is you can import software like to teach the cello, teach violin, teach piano, teach bass, drums, all within this device. And so adaptive technology the iPads are used for within classrooms. It's accessible. There's a college in Kansas that no longer has snow days because they're a one-to-one iPad college. And so anytime there is inclement weather, the students and faculty both know to shift into, they already have lessons plans for each week to do it online using the iPad. Yes?
Are you saying that this guitar device costs $40?
40 bucks.
And you have an iPad that you just put in it and you can play it pretty much like a guitar. I mean, it wouldn't have
Exactly. It's got
strings and so forth and the sounds.
It's got little buttons on the frets. It's got little buttons on the frets instead of strings. And so if you just go to YouTube and ION, guitar, and you'll bring up tons of video. And plus, I have it in the links at the end.
ION guitar.
Yeah, ION.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty awesome. A lot of music teachers are using it for beginning students to kind of get them interested in music. Creativity. Yeah, go ahead.
I assume they would have there's probably a keyboard thing too.
Yeah, they actually have an app specific. This one's showing a guitar, but they have apps specific for keyboard, cello, violin, bass guitar. I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's about it I can think of off the top of my head. Thousands of educational apps. Now, I teach app development. I am an app developer as well. And Droids is the other market, right? But Droids come nowhere near educational apps like Apple does with iOS devices. I have a lot of friends that have disabled children with disabilities. They have everything from Down syndrome to attention deficit disorder. And they have iPad apps for every type of learning disability and learning need. At the college, we use iPads in the math, remedial math, for all of our lessons, and it helps the students tremendously with learning. Learning styles, cognitive, kinesthetic, and are effective through rich array of media. And then I mentioned already learning disability. If you go to Apple's website, the link's on the slide. And by the way, everything I'm saying is being recorded, and there's also the PDF's already out there for you on my website that I'll mention at the end, cconkle.com. So you don't have to feverishly write everything down unless you want to. You can. And so that's also one of the benefits of an iPad is being able to, what we'll talk about today is do screencasting with your device as well, which we're doing right now. The iPad is ranked #1 in emerging technology for educational apps, textbooks, and communication tools. Even though Droid Market sells more devices on the pads and also on the phones, but as far as people using the device in education, the iOS devices supersede, and I believe because of the quality of the apps and the quality of how the device works in the classroom. Look, mono wires. And so basically you can be untethered with your iPad as well. And here in just a second, I'm going to show you some demos of some specific apps, which most of you probably came in wanting some specific examples, which I'm going to give you today, of apps that we use at Rock Valley College. But that's all useless if you have to be tethered to a wire within the classroom. You can do everything pretty much, or majority of things you can do with a laptop or desktop. So what's the benefit of an iPad? Having untethered access is one of those benefits. AirPlay is a tool that's used. Just like today, I have using AirPlay on my iPad, streaming it to my tablet or my laptop, using a program called Airserver, which we'll look at in a second. AirPlay is built into the iOS devices, iPads and iPhones. And AirPlay works with the Apple TV. It also works with a number of apps that you can install on a PC. And that's what we do on campus. We basically have an app called Airserver that's on every PC on campus. We have instructions I'll show you in a second that faculty follow to connect their iPad to the overhead literally within 1 minute from entering the classroom once the computer is turned on and they're logged in. So pretty cool. Airserver allows you to teach untethered and also teach mobile. The way I use it in a lot of my classrooms and other faculty use it is as we're walking around the classroom, we can take pictures of students' work and show it immediately on the overhead. And for a large class, it really helps. But even for a small class, it kind of highlights students' work, which they always feel good about, right? And always feel positive about that. So there's enough negative messages hitting our kids. This is one positive message that we can highlight within the classroom fairly easy and actually bring kids out of their shell by highlighting their work. Typical tasks though with an iPad would be presentations, whiteboard activity, video, recording, and all the Rock Valley College workstations use Airserver, which is $4 a piece is the cost in the bulk discount. Airserver costs $4 a piece for each install. This video has no sound for a reason. It's just an animation of what Airserver does. It's not too long. Basically just showing how we have multiple connections using Airserver within the classroom. If you have it set up right, you can basically, and other students or other faculty have iPads, we can all connect to the same Airserver app, and then I can switch as a faculty those devices onto the overhead and let them control and run. So here at Rock Valley College, we have a unique SSID that we use for our connectivity with our iPads. We call RVC employees AirPlay only. They log in with their network credentials. So you would log in with your school's network credentials that you log in with on the network. And then the instructor starts an app called Airserver. From the iPad, they swipe up from the bottom, select the Airserver, and Airserver puts in a four-digit PIN. It's unique every time, and then they're allowed to do what I'm doing right now. What you see on the overhead is what I see on my iPad. And it begins mirroring. So now we're going to get into demos, which I'm excited about. And we don't have a lot of time today, so I'm going to highlight the top apps that I use every week in the 6 classes that I teach using iPad. The first is how many uses or has tried to use polls in your classroom, live polls and assessments in your classroom? Can you give me some examples of apps you've used? Anybody?
Cahoots.
Kahoot. Who said that? Yeah, that's a good one. Anybody else?
Poll everywhere.
What was that?
Poll everywhere.
Yes, that's a good one. Poll everywhere is a good one. Anybody else? Let's see. Yeah. There's a 5906. And the way I'm having to connect in here today is through my phone because they don't have the infrastructure in here. That's okay. Okay, so good examples of what you guys are using. What we're going to do now is I'm going to shift here and I'm going to have you do a real-time poll right here today. You can use your iPhone, your iPad, whatever laptop you got, doesn't matter. We're going to do a real-time poll, just 5 little questions. It can run off any browser. It's free, and the program actually is called Socrata. And again, all that I'm talking about today is on the links at the end of the presentation that's already there for you. So first thing you need to do is go to m.socrative.com, m.socrative.com, and then you'll enter in the room number, which is RVC lowercase, m.socrative.com, then enter in RVC lowercase as the room number when it prompts you. And if somebody could look at me and say, yeah, okay, cool, I'm gonna switch gears now. If you look on the overhead, you see my iPad screen, right? So I'm gonna show you real time, as you would do in a classroom. I'm gonna switch to Socrative. And when you go to Socrative.com, you can register as a teacher or a student. You would register as a teacher. It's free. And Socrative was created by faculty and teachers that are programmers. And so you can create a quiz, start a quiz. So I do a space race, which is a really cool quiz that, you picks teams and stuff and shows people who won randomly. But we're going to go ahead and start a quiz. I created one called ConnectionsConference. And I'm going to go to teacher paste. And this is being recorded, so again, you don't have to feverishly write this down. You can watch it over. I was born in New York, raised in southern Missouri, so I have a southern fast accent. So some students have to slow my video down so they can hear my voice because I talk so fast. So anyway, teacher paste. So I'm getting ready to start it now. And teacher paste is where I control when the questions come up. You should now begin to answer questions. There's 24 of you in. So go ahead and answer the question. It should have prompted you at first to enter in your name, I believe. Last name first or something. If you put first name last, no big deal. Now you'll notice here on the overhead, boom, stuff's coming in. As it's being entered, it's live. The poll's live, it's data. The kids love this. It's interactive, it's now. They don't have to wait for it next week, tonight, Sunday, Monday, a conference. It's right now, they see it. And kids and adults both love this right here. They love to see instant results. And whether you like it or hate it, that's the generation that we're in, right? Instant results. I want to see what I put in now. And so we've got so far winning, how long ago on an iPad? Greater than 3 years. Then between 1 and 3 years is kind of creeping up. And lagging behind is less than a year, and a few of you do not own an iPad, you're just checking it out. And as a teacher, if I have some slackers in the classroom that don't want to answer, I can go on. I don't have to wait, okay? Or if your device locks up or whatever, that happens. So right now I have 26 out of 27 that have responded, and that's good enough for me. We can discuss it, we can talk about it, and the way I use it in my classroom is I always do a poll before every section to determine the aptitude of students on what we're getting ready to discuss in technology. So it might be how to set up a Wi-Fi network, how to set up a secure home network. If they know majority of the rudimental things, I change my lesson plans immediately. I don't cover things that they already know. And I ask pertinent questions in this little poll that I know that they know what they're talking about. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and go next here. Top right, there's a button that says next. I'm going to click that. And you should now be able to answer the second question. I use my iPad in the following ways. And there's a list of multiple choice, mainly surfing web, photos, social media, meetings only. I hardly use it, none of the above. You just pick one if I didn't put one in there that meets your category, just kind of close to it. That'd be awesome. All right, leading the pack is A here. Oh, it's coming back a little bit. Mainly email, surfing. And then number 2 is hardly use it. And 4 and 3 is meetings only. And then none of the above. And so real quick, we have a quick glance at everybody's response using this. And what's really cool, you'll see in a second at the end of this, I get a detailed email response of what's just happened. Every person in here, a detailed email response. So it saves in grading because I can assign a grade to all those responses automatically. I'm going to go on to the next one. In what ways are you wanting to use your iPad in the classroom? A, use the iPad to create more interaction with my students, presentations, recording screencasts, and all the above. And again, those of you that aren't involved here, because you don't have your device or whatever, again, it works with any device, phone, tablet, computer. So I know some students or some classrooms are strapped for equipment. This is I use it for online classes as well. I'll do a live poll during the week with one of my online classes. So we have winning here, all the above, which is expected on this one. All right, next. If you want to test, yeah, I know some of you are still submitting. If you want to test apps created for teachers, then enter in your full name and email. This is, and I won't show your names on this one or your answers, but I do develop apps for faculty, and we're in the midst of submitting another app to the App Store in just a little bit called, we just renamed it, called My Attendance. But I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so a few of you here, so I'll leave it up here for a second. And if you're interested, what I'm going to do is post-session, I will email you a link to where you can send me some information about your iPad or iPhone, specifically your iPads is what we're going to be doing testing on this app called My Attendance. What it does is it allows you to put an iPad at the end of your desk, the way I use it in my classrooms and other faculty. We've been testing it for 2 years on campus. Students come in with their phone or they print out a QR code badge that the app creates and it takes attendance immediately. You don't have to take attendance anymore. The app takes attendance for you as the students come in. It trains them in like a week to do it, and they all know to do it. So when they come to my class, they pull out their phone, they pull out their piece of paper, they scan it, go sit down every time. And what's cool about it too is a lot of times if I have handouts for them, they know to pick up the handouts while they're putting in their QR code. And the app, all you have to do is import a roster. It emails all the students with that created QR code badge, and then they bring it tells them in the email to bring it to class, the first session, and that's it. Pretty simple. It has a reporting mechanism that reports who's checked in, who's not, who wasn't there, who was there, and Again, we've been testing it for a couple of years. We're getting ready to publish it to the App Store for like 99 cents. But if you're interested, let me know and I'll let you test it some more. We're going to test it through the summer so you can actually test it with us. Awesome. So a number of you are interested. So I'm going to go ahead and click finish. Now watch here. When I click finish, it gives me an option. How would you like to report? I'm going to click email, select email here, and then it'll send me an Excel spreadsheet of what you guys just submitted. Done. It's been sent. Okay. That literally, when I create polls each semester, I use the same poll over and over again for my beginning classes, intermediate class, advanced class. They don't really change much on content, but you get a lot of rich material for a teacher. Now I'm going to show you here one of the examples of a poll that was submitted earlier, because it takes a few minutes and I don't want to wait for it. Let me pull up one here. There's one 956 I did earlier today. I wanted to show you. It says here, your report from Socrata. If I click on this, and it gives me that detailed report in a spreadsheet format, date and time, and all the students' names and their answers. Okay. It generally takes 3 to 4 minutes to come to your inbox on average. Pretty cool, right? Socrata, totally free. Online, you would sign up on the website, and then you download it to your iPad, iPhone to use. You can also set up the quizzes on the website, which I find easier to do than doing it on the iPad. You set up the quizzes on your desktop or laptop, and then in the classroom, do it live like we're doing right now. Okay? Questions on Socrata? All right, let's switch now, keep going here. How are we doing on time? Sweet. All right, collect and collaborate is the next demo we're going to do. Tons of apps on this, by the way, but again, these are apps that we use at Rock Valley, and I've used for a number of years, that we like, and they work, right? How many has liked apps, but they don't work? Right? We've liked a lot of apps, but a lot of them don't work when you need them to work. And so the ones I'm showing you today work all the time, pretty much. It's seamless. They never fail. Those are the apps I really like. Okay, next one is this one. How many uses Dropbox for your device? Probably most of you, right? Dropbox, if you don't know, is a free app that you can download from the App Store to store your files. Since iOS does not allow you to store files locally and natively, you have to use some third party like Dropbox to do so. Do you want to? Yeah, it's like the cloud, exactly. Now, what's cool is there's a service out there called Send to Dropbox. And the way I use it is when I have an assignment that has a large attachment to it, which in programming, a lot of my assignments range anywhere from 10 megs to half a gig in size. So I use this service to send their assignments because all of your free email accounts have a cap on attachment size. About 25 megs is pretty much the max you're going to get for most, okay? If it goes beyond that, the students aren't going to be able to send it anyway. And this will pertain to you that teach photography, video, programming, any courses that have large attachments. This service works awesome. Okay, the free service, you do have to change the email each time, but it's free. So that's why I use it. But you can pay like $3 a month to get like unlimited emails. And what it is you create an email, you give it to the students, and you tell them to enter in a certain subject line, attach their file, and send it. And it goes to a certain folder in Dropbox that you've told it to go to. So when you open up Dropbox, it has all those files in a certain order that you want. So we'll show you actually how to do that in just a second. So what I want you to do, if you wouldn't mind, is on your laptop, desktop, tablet, create a new email, attach a photo, make sure it's clean because I might show it on the overhead. Disclaimer, make sure it's a nice photo or nice whatever. Attach a file to an email. Subject line, just put in CC for the subject line because that's what I want everybody to do. CC is the subject line. The email, it's a long one, but it's connections_B3D6 @sendtodropbox.com. Again, connections, it's hard to see this underscore B3D6 at send@dropbox.com. And by the way, you do have control over this prefix here, right here, connection. I have control over this. I don't have control over underscore, whatever unique number they create here, or letter number they create. For the free one, you don't have control over that. Okay, I'm going to switch now to Dropbox on my iPad, and we'll see what's come in so far, what I can see anyway. Okay, when you set up the service, it's going to create a new folder in Dropbox called Attachments. It's going to be called Attachments. If you don't already have one in there, it'll create one called Attachments. And then within Attachments is where all of the, whatever you put in the subject line, that's where it's going to put the folder. Okay, so the subject line I told you to put in was CC. And the way I set up the rule was, it's going to create within this, it's going to use your name as the next folder. And then within that folder, it's going to have the email. So here's Carolyn. Cute puppy. Who's Carolyn? Where's Carolyn? Thank you.
Agreed.
So you did it. You succeeded.
It's my grandson.
Debbie. Yeah, see, people love this, you know. Looking at, whose is this? Yeah, that's a good picture. What's that? Derek. Oh. Pete. Where's Pete? All right, Pete.
Yeah, that's not my son.
That's not your son. Okay. Whose is this? Awesome. Janet. Katie. Lauren. Cute. Lisa. Where's Lisa? Awesome. Good picture. And William. Great picture. So, as you can see, as a teacher, I like it because I see it's coming in by their name, and then I just click on their folder, and it has a file that I requested for them to send. Okay. Now within send@dropbox.com, you can determine the makeup of that logic. What I mean is, you can just have CC and then just all the files show up, and that's it of everybody that's sent. I don't recommend that because if they name it the same, that can cause problems. So I recommend in send@dropbox.com to make the logic, and you can literally drag and drop the logic from the left side to the right side on how you want the folders to be created. I suggest name and then file name. Email name, then file name. That's it. Next is Screencast. Screencast is what we're doing right now. We're recording my screen and my voice. And we're going to use a program called Explain Everything. Anybody heard of this program? Okay, a couple of you heard of it. It's an awesome program. I believe it's around $3. It allows you to import videos, PDFs, websites, photos, record your iPad screen and your voice. You can export it at the end to YouTube or Dropbox or other services. And then embed that YouTube, the way I do it is embed the YouTube post session in the course site. Keynote, okay. Keynote is a PowerPoint for Apple, basically, Apple's version of PowerPoint. I'm going to take this Keynote and I'm going to open it up in another app. I'm going to select PDF for the format. It's going to render as a PDF, and then I'm going to open it up into Explain Everything. So Explain Everything should be on the top row there, one of the options. I'm going to tap it. What it's doing now is importing that PDF into Explain Everything from the beginning slide to the end slide. So I've got 30 slides here. And what's awesome is I can now, on the bottom you'll notice there's a little button here, a red button. You tap it, it's recording. It's recording what I'm saying, what I'm doing, and I can advance my slides. I can tap on a pencil here, and I can circle something, maybe change it to a better color here. All right. These are slides we've already went over just to show you here. I can actually tap in this one and put in text. I can minimize, if you don't like the big bar showing up, I can minimize with this icon, the bar, to be much smaller for navigational purposes. And then I can click on this one to actually use it as a laser pointer on the presentation. But the really cool part is this. That's all pretty cool, but let me show you some stuff the way we use it. I'm going to create a new slide here, right here. I'm going to hit new plus symbol, new slide, and I'm going to go ahead and click this plus symbol here, and I'm going to go to new picture, and I'm going to take a picture of everybody here. That's kind of blurry. I don't want that one. Retake. Awesome. All right, and done. And what's cool is now I can take this picture and I can do whatever I want to with it. And the way I have some math teachers use it is they take a picture of their whiteboard on their classroom before class. And you know, you've been in college math. It takes up the entire stinking room. It's from this side all the way to there. This math equation. You have to stand all the way in the back to take a picture of it. But what he does is he takes a picture of all these equations and puts them up here one by one in rows. Like he might have three rows, 3 columns. And what he does in class is when he comes to class, he's recording what he's doing. He just goes up to the corner, grabs one, blows it up, and then he goes to this guy. And he basically, highlights that math equation immediately, which is awesome. Now, one of the things you've got to learn is, like here, I tried to draw again. Once you select a tool, this little hand tool, you cannot go, take an image back down until you select the hand tool. You can also do this with video. I can import a video and annotate on top of the video while it's playing. When you're done, is you can actually stop the recording and then we'll show the kickback of it. So I'm going to go ahead now and stop the recording. I'm going to go back to the very beginning slide. And I'm going to tap this green button on the bottom. And what it's doing here is going to begin playing that recording. I can tap on a pencil here, and I can circle something, maybe change it to a color here. And since I'm using AirPlay, my volume or my audio on my iPad is coming through to my laptop. And put in. Pretty cool, right? So, explain everything. Now I'm going to go over some suggested apps. So I went over top apps that we use on campus. Explain everything is 1. The send to Dropbox.com is 2. And what was the other one we went over? What was that?
Socrata.
Yes. Those are the 3 top programs that we use on campus. There's so many apps that we use. Those are the top 3 that we use. And the website I'm getting ready to show you in just a second gives you tons more examples of apps and suggested apps to take and download. Dropbox already mentioned. Notability is another one I mentioned or recommend. Paper is a cool art drawing app. Write PDF will let you edit PDF files natively and sign them. MS Office is now free to download, but it does cost for the editability of those apps. iZip, if you get inbox zip files in your inbox sometimes, you don't know how to uncompress them. iZip's a free one that you can get. There's a free and a paid one both. I do recommend the paid one's only 99 cents. Flipboard, great for news. Paper for drawing. Write PDF. TeamViewer. TeamViewer is awesome because I can remote into any other computer with my iPad. How many's used TeamViewer in here before? Okay. So I want to we got time, we got 10 minutes. I'm going to show you this. Because teachers, how many's ever had a case where you've been in your classroom and you forgot something on your computer? At home or whatever. Say you forgot it at home on your computer, right? Forgot the file. Well, here's TeamViewer right here. And I even did this morning. I can remote in to a computer that I have it set up on. And I'm going to go ahead and enter in my password, just like I was sitting in front of it.
the computer that you're remoting in has to be powered on though, right?
Yep, it's gotta be powered on.
And that's it, nothing downloaded to it?
Yeah, there's an
Well,
app
you-
you have to download to
You
it.
have to install some
So it's
stuff.
totally free. But here, you're looking at my desktop computer in Rockford, Illinois. It's a PC, Windows 8. And I can actually fire up a program in here and start playing with it on my iPad. And so you're like, well, I wish the iPad had this program that I use on my PC. You can use the free TeamViewer app, log into your computer, and use it. Make sense? So I have teachers do that all the time because I have some teachers that actually remote into their PC every class period and do their presentations from their computer at home or at work or in their office. TeamViewer.com is the app URL. They haven't done it yet. So I wanted to show you that because that's kind of awesome, I think. Explain everything we went over. Prezi. How many's used a Prezi before to create a presentation? Okay, I recommend the Prezi app for the iPad. They've updated in the last month. It's really more rich tools. Editing tools are out there for you. And then I put it in Socrata, which we already went over. And I'll read a quote by Steve Jobs. Here's the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, round pegs and square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. And I want to stop there for a second. If you try to teach with the iPad in your classroom, you might actually feel like this. Seriously. I have teachers that really wanted to use it for years that felt like that because they had no support, no whatever. Now they do. But when they first began, they didn't. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. But the one thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as crazy ones, we see them as genius because the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that do. So, websites. CCongle.com is the first one I recommend going to. If you don't go to any other website, just go to that one. It already has a post in there on the top of my website of the PDF of the presentation we did today. I will also have a video post link in there just after the session today. I'll put a link of the video of our session, the screencast. In this link also is some recommended app link that has like about 50 iPad apps I recommend with reviews. I also have in this link on the post some apps I've created on the App Store I recommend using, and also a blurb about the new My Attendance app that's almost on being able to be published on the App Store. So ccongle.com. I just put this link in here this is to our college on student services on using faculty setting up Wi-Fi. Thought it'd be beneficial. There's a website I've created for faculty that they use for resources. You're more than welcome to go to iteachtherefore.ipad.com. And then you're welcome to join our Facebook group, which we have about 75 in there right now, not just Rock Valley College folks, but even folks in K through 12 are in there as well. And so recommend you visiting all these links, specifically the first one. But hope you enjoyed today's session and you got some stuff out of it. And email me, ask any questions before you leave. But make sure you fill out your form and drop it off. And thanks for coming today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.